This is Israeli Technology Founders Speak, a podcast of conversations with successful Israeli high-tech and biotech entrepreneurs. With your host, Avraham Hermon. Sigal Kalmanson is the CEO and founder of Starget Pharma, an Israeli early-stage clinical company developing a new class of Smart Targeted Radioligands for precision oncology of hard-to-heal cancers. Avraham sat down with Sigal in the offices of Starget Pharma to discuss why Sigal started Starget, the role of IP in their business, how they got funded, how Sigal became the CEO, tips for startup founders, and much more. This podcast is a creation of JMB Davis Ben David, an intellectual property law firm serving clients around the world. You have great innovations. We keep them safe. It's not enough to just have a great startup idea or innovation. If you don't legally protect your innovations, products, and brand, anyone can claim them as their own. We keep your great innovation secure. Learn more by going to jmbdavis.com. That's jmbdavis.com.
I'm interested to talk about Starget, your company. Starget has been a client of mine for quite a few years already. Tell me a bit about what problem Starget solves.
So Starget operates in the radioligand therapy domain. And the goal is to offer advanced patients, cancer patients, with a targeted radiotherapy solution. As you probably know, external beam radiation is very effective in killing cancer, but the main issue that it also has damage to the healthy cells. So at Starget, we are taking microdose of radiation and combining it into a molecule that can deliver this high specific radiation directly to cancer cells while minimizing the impact to the healthy tissues.
Mm-hmm. So you have experience prior to Starget in entrepreneurship. Can you tell me a little bit about that as well?
Sure. Actually, I came from the high-tech domain, many years at global companies such as Microsoft and others. And around 10 years ago, I did the shift toward the startup domain. I joined my two brothers in a startup in the mobile gaming, and we worked for 4 years until we sold the company. So that was my first entrepreneurship. And from then on, I just I fell in love in the aspects of being an entrepreneur, and I co-founded some other companies in the e-commerce, and also invested in several companies in the travel tech, financial tech, and others. My family are the founders of a company in the oncology space named Starget Pharma, which went public on NASDAQ a few years ago. And we have decided that we want to found another company in this domain. So in 2018, for 1 year, we have been searching for different technologies from different fields, until we came across a technology that was developed at the Sheba Medical Center, and we decided to do exclusive licensing for a patent of a specific range of molecules that later on became the basis of Starget Pharma.
So from high tech to gaming to pharma, it seems like a kind of diverse career. And how does someone who isn't in pharma get involved in so in depth in pharma?
Well, that's a great question. When we started the company, we brought people, top scientists in different areas of chemistry, biology, and we were actually searching for a CEO for about 6 months. And in the meantime, I just started being the CEO, and eventually I'm now the CEO for 5 years. So I didn't believe at the beginning that I could do the transition. But what I found out is that, like any other startups, you have to have a great team, a very strong scientific team, but you also need a vision, a strategy, and a great execution. So I think that combining the expertise that I bring from the high-tech world with the expertise of the team in the drug development and chemistry world, this is what makes Starget Pharma unique in the space.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So why did you specifically choose a product or a company that's in the theranostic product space?
Well, one of the reasons we fell in love in this specific domain of theranostics is theranostics is first diagnostics and then therapy. So we're using the molecule, combining it first with an isotope for imaging, so we can diagnose the patient in a PET scan. And only those patients where we see good tumor uptake, meaning that our molecule can deliver in a targeted manner the radiation, only they become eligible to receiving the therapy. So this is, of course, very good for the patients themselves because they don't receive any therapy that will not work. And we can identify it without any toxicity issues using the imaging part. But it's also very important as drug development because it enables us in very early stages to understand what is the behavior of the compound. So it's like big data. We can see where are the molecules, whether they really interact with the cancer cells, whether there is any off-target, they reach organs that we would not like them to reach, etc. So using this theranostic approach enables us the rapid discovery of novel radioligands because we can identify at very early stages with minimum impact on the animals and later on humans to understand what could be the benefit of this molecule for a therapy.
Okay, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way, that you're essentially, you could see results really quickly because you're doing imaging at the same time. So it's not like a typical pharmaceutical where you would be waiting for results of a trial. Here, basically in real time, you could see what parts of the body this agent gets to, right?
Exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about IP. How important is IP for Starget?
So IP is at the core of the company. Starget Pharma is focused on a platform technology that enables the rapid discovery of the novel ligands for the delivery of these isotopes to a broad range of cancer tumors. And the most important part is the innovation of the ligand itself. This is what we're discovering and engineering. And therefore, there's a need for strong composition of matter, IP, patents, to not only defend and to be able to work versus competitors, but this is also a very important part in the capital raise, as well as potential strategic deals with pharma companies. And just recently, we announced a deal with the U.S. Cancer Focus Fund for a $5.1 million for our first clinical trial in the U.S., which is planned by the first half of 2025. And one of the key aspects was the due diligence around the IP. And since we had a very strong composition of matter IP on the specific chemical entities, this really supported the capital raise round.
Okay, that's good news. So can you speak a little bit more about funding so far, where the funding is from and how that's been for you?
So funding is something that we're doing constantly as a startup. I think most entrepreneurs will understand that you always are in some state of raising capital. It started with private investors, ourselves, the founders, as well as friends and family. And then we had a publicly traded company here in Israel named Ilex Medical, which is in the field of diagnostic devices. So they entered the second round and became one of the key engines for the capital raise going forward. And later on, we had the Cancer Focus Fund, which is a USBC. And now we're currently just started another capital raise round with institutional and global VCs.
Around when do you think you'll see this product, your first product, out on the market?
So our first product, we actually had already first in human studies in Germany with 8 patients for safety and imaging performance. And now we're very excited since we signed an agreement with MD Anderson in the US. And we're planning the first diagnostic trial, meaning both imaging and therapy trial in the US, screening 80 patients and treating around 36 patients. So this is very exciting for us as a company to bring this promise of the radioligand therapy into the clinic.
So where do you see yourselves around 1 year from now and then also 5 years from now down the road?
So 1 year from now, we are going to be a clinical phase 1B data already around our first lead compound. But the second very interesting thing is that the field is now looking for novel radioligands. So we have a pipeline of additional RLTs, radioligand therapies for additional tumor types. And we believe we will probably do either a licensing deal or some type of platform collaboration deal also on the pipeline opportunities. So this is around the coming year. In 5 years' time, we believe we could be one of the key players in the platform peptide radioligand therapy. This is the main expertise of the company are around peptide ligands, and specifically in the domain of radioligand therapy. And we have developed a platform technology which involves a unique cyclization technology named backbone cyclization, pioneered by Professor Chaim Gilon, Dr. Michel Afargan from the team, as well as we invested a lot in silico AI modalities in order to have rapid discovery, engineering, as well as screening of peptide radioligand therapies.
So do you have any recommendations for founders who are at the start of their journey, who don't have the same experience that you have?
Well, I'm not sure. I think each entrepreneur has its own journey, but I think there are some commonalities. So I would say taking things from my experience from the high-tech world regarding agility and being very lean and smart. So working on several projects at the start and seeing what starts to work and then focusing on that would be one recommendation. So it's like A/B testing that we're doing in the high-tech world. Also here, we took several approaches at the beginning, several potential strategies. We made some assumptions and we just saw the data and decided, looking at the data, where would we go next? So it's not just generating a long-term strategy. It's really having short-term goals and then each time trying to reach the goals, and if not, changing the aspects. So this is one. And the second, in terms of capital raise, I think it's very important to look at several avenues, not only VCs, but looking sometimes to family offices, potential institutional, potential collaborations. This is very important to broaden the audience of potential capital raise, because you never know from where would come the initial or the second investors.
So you had mentioned that the clinical trials are going to be starting in the US, but you're located all in Israel. So what impact does being in Israel have on Starget, and why in Israel? And how do you feel that impacts your development as a company?
So in Israel, what we have best is deep scientific people. And this is what we're trying to leverage. So within Israel, we have the chemistry lab working on the discovery of the novel and the engineering. We have a team of AI, computer modeling, in silico, very strong teams that are located here in Israel. From the operational side, we're doing many of our in vitro and in vivo studies in Spain because they have a cost efficiency. They have the ability to run these trials very fast. And in the US, we're going to have a subsidiary for the clinical development. So we're trying to leverage each location's main expertise. And Israel has mainly the people and the deep technologies. And this is what we're leveraging here in Israel.
So let me ask you, do you have any challenges as a female founder here in the field?
I'm not sure. I think that today it's at least in terms of the team, we have on our team, I would say in the top management, we are 4 female leaders. So we are quite extensive in terms of the female dominance. But I think it may be in some cases in the VC space, some of them, but I don't see it as a major challenge or as a major issue anymore.
Anymore because you thought this was an issue at some point?
Yes.
Like in different fields or?
In different fields. And sometimes you could reach a VC where you see that probably it still has some points, and they may look at being a female founder and a female CEO still maybe differently. But I would say that that's the minor cases. In most cases, I don't feel that anymore.
So thank you, Sigal. I appreciate the time you took for having me talk with you about Starget, and wishing you lots of luck for you and for your company in the near future.
And thank you for hosting me on the podcast. I hope I gave maybe a very small tip for somebody out there who's currently working so hard on his next big thing. And thank you for your great support along our journey in really becoming one of the leading oncologist RLT companies worldwide.
Thank you.
That was Sigal Kalmanson, the CEO and founder of Starget Pharma. We hope you enjoyed this episode. There are many more to come. Do you have a great innovation or startup idea? We'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us by going to our website, jmbdavis.com. And if you go to jmbdavis.com/startup, you'll see we have a special site specifically made for startups to help startups protect their innovations. Please be in touch with us and find out how we can help you. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to bringing you the next episode.